Hey all. So, I give up. Okay, so I built a workaround for the auth state situation. So we get authorized views. So look, by default, when you create a Blazor app that uses authorization, you will get a page that looks like this. It's the nav menu page, and you've got you'll have these tags in there: authorized view, authorized, not authorized. And then you will have register and login here. Okay, so if you were to go through the process, I presume, if you were to go through the standard process of activating authentication within the Blazor web application, perhaps this works. Perhaps these authorized view tags will function. If, however, you're doing it like I'm doing it, which is to call an external web API that pulls in the data from outside, from another API, and then attempts to load the Blazor application or load the authentication state into the app. That'll work. You can do it. It just will not function with these. I have tried, I believe, everything. So my stream title header information states, if it's not working for you, here's a workaround. And that's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so you can see on my web page here, I've got both register login and my logged in person and a logout page. This is a result of the workaround, this bottom part. Top part is the authorized view still not functioning. And you can see in both situations, the auth state is loaded. Okay, so it has to be loaded, it has to be existing to go down into here, right? So now if the person is authenticated, see, I don't have that. You can put a tag on here that says a role has to be in place or a policy has to be in place and it has to fit those policies or roles. I do not have that. All I have is it's authorized or not authorized, which means authenticated or not authenticated is essentially what it is. So I'm going to show you. We're going to go back to my, I don't know, let's go to, this page doesn't exist, and a couple of these things don't actually exist. We're going to click on this login page. So now we're going to go here. Now we do have authentication here. Well, here's the deal. It loses it between pages. This is part of it. So we're going to go here. So we have this. So now we see is authenticated equals true. You can see that right here. Is authenticated equals true. That's this little text right there. Which means we should get a valid state. Now, we're not. We're not going to get a valid state. It's not going to revamp those. It's not going to build those. If I click back here, which is when it's actually supposed to, nulls the first time it sees it. Then we're going to recheck the state. Log authentication state. We're going to go like, you can see if I click here, and it says user is authenticated. Here's his information, and here we go. We got it logged here, and user is authenticated. Everybody's happy camper. We got information, the username information, all that stuff. All right, but F5 and boom. The bottom part sets, top part fails. Why? I don't know, but there you go. There's a workaround. What I'm doing is I have my own little. This is how I did it in React. Essentially, I just have variables that update the path. So now this is going to be the text is the user's name. In this case, we're using their email address. I could change the name, but I just haven't loaded that information yet. So right now, I'm just doing the name that they log in with, which is the email address. I can change that. I probably will, but that's next or later, whatever. So we got this. Now we got the log out. So you can see the page is going to account log out, which I haven't implemented yet. But and then you have this one, which is going to the account manage page, which I also have not implemented yet. Now the pages just don't load or exist yet because I haven't gotten to that. But we now have a valid toggling back and forth page. Now this should happen every time I go to one of these pages. So once I create this page and do something with it, or this page, we should get the correct toggling going on here. Why AuthView doesn't work, you know, I've tried all these different things. I've looked up a bunch of different ways. It says, you know, Google, whatever, everything says, you know, update the authentication state. But the fact is, I'm proving the authentication state right here. I mean, I am literally at the auth state, reading the auth state value, and it says it's authenticated. The only other thing I could think of trying is maybe this authorized won't work without me putting in the role. I think that's silly. It should just work. I don't know why it wouldn't. But I do have a role. I could go here. I believe if I hit refresh here. I don't know why the first time doesn't come through. I think it's because it's not actually hitting anything yet. This is it attempting to render it without anything. And then we go here, and then we come back, and we should have a cookie here. Okay, so we do. So now we got user authenticated, and we got claims. Count one authorized is authenticated. We got 2 claims. We got account. Oh, why did it keep showing me? Why won't it show me the claim? Oh, here we go. It's an admin role. So the role is admin, and we got the email showing here. So I probably could have found it here. Probably would have been a little quicker. No, that's weird. Oh, here we go. The email and the role. So in theory, maybe I could put the role on there. Maybe it would allow it, but I don't know why you would even have a generic form if you could not do this. I think, let's just see, add role to authorized tag. Let's see here. Add role to authorized. But now again, unless this actually does something, which I don't think it will. I mean, if it's not working as authenticated, I don't see why it would work with the role. So, come on. It's rewriting my whole page because I put this thing in before. Here we go. Oh, so it rolls admin. Okay, so I'll just go here. We'll type it in, just see if maybe that means something. I don't think it does. I'm gonna do this in case. But I will show you the exact code of my workaround here, which is essentially, like I said, the same thing you can do in React in the same way React does it. So I have a dynamic, oh, what the heck? Did I type something wrong? Roles, admin. Why didn't it like that? Okay. Did I put it on the wrong thing? Huh. I got an unrecognized attribute. Roles there. It's going to tell me how to fix it, I guess. By way of giving me the entire manual role check. In the authorized section, I manually check the user's role using authState.user. Huh. Well, what's the problem? Okay, so that doesn't sound right. Let's do a Google check. Let's go ahead and take this and put this over here because I use that later for something else. Not that particular instance, but we'll go here. We will say add roles to authorized tag in Blazor in .NET 8 Blazor web application. Now, again, this is a lot of time spent on something that I've already given up on, but let's see what it says here. Code. This doesn't even have the authorization tag in it. If user identity is authenticated is true, claims can be enumerated and membership roles evaluated. Set up the task authentication state. Roles, that's what I did. Authorized view. So it's got to be on authorized view. All right, let's put this up here. You know, it's weird, but look at this. This approach isn't normally applicable to server-side Blazor apps. Server-side Blazor apps know the authentication state as soon as a state is established. Authorizing content can be provided in app's authorized view component, but the content is never displayed. You can only see this if you're signed in. The authorized attribute also supports role-based or policy-based. Yeah, but what good does that do you for conditional policy-based resource authorization? In the program file, and namespaces. Oh, I've already got all this stuff in mind. Edit user razor. Customize unauthorized content with the router component. Router found authorized route view, not authorized. Okay, so I already have all that. Add cascading authentication state. Got all that. That exists. Button on click. Cascading, I already have this cascading authentication state. In .NET 8 or later, don't use the cascading authentication state component. Instead, add cascading authentication state services to the service collection in the program file. because I am using 8, but I think I already have that. So I have both. I probably don't need both, but I have both. Add cascading authentication state. So that's right there. But it says you don't use the component, so I really should take that out, I guess. So, it's a what, app.razor. Oh, it's routes.razor. So I guess I don't need this. It doesn't work regardless, so that's not going to matter. But might as well have it. I am yeah. Provided supplies the task authentication state cascading parameter, which in turn it receives from the underlying authentication state provider. Personally identifiable information, additional resources. So that really didn't help me too much. It didn't provide much other than to tell me what I kind of didn't know. Is that it says here, this logic doesn't work on server side. Well, why is it in here? I didn't put it in here. Server side says this is valid. Where'd it go? Here it is. It says while content displaying during while authentication is in progress, authorized view displays no content. To display content while authentication occurs, assign content to the authorizing parameter. This approach isn't normally applicable to server-side Blazor apps. Server-side Blazor apps know the authentication state as soon as the state is established. Authorizing content can be provided in an app's authorized view component, but the content is never displayed. Oh, no, that didn't. All it's talking about is this doesn't work in server-side. So that's not the problem. But authorized does not work. So while authentication is in progress, authorized view displays no content. The display content will assigns content to the authorizing parameter. If neither roles nor policy authorized view uses the default policy. Authenticated users are authorized. Unauthenticated users are unauthorized. So I have that. So authenticated should work. I shouldn't have to put in a role. But alas, I did. And I don't think it's going to do anything. But interesting, though, that this doesn't actually show authorized, unauthorized. It just says authorized view, and there's no unauthorized. So we know this has nothing. Nothing at all. It's false, so it's not going to do anything. But here we go to login. And we click login. And we have a value. It's still false though. Did not actually log in yet. Oh, we haven't actually looked. Man, it goes through, it comes back through a lot of pages. Now we're in the area. That's got to go through so many states. Okay, so now we've got a state, and now it's true. Okay. And I should have claims. One of them is role admin. So if that's going to do anything, it does not. See, we still have it say register login. It's supposed to be triggering. So nothing seems to trigger the authorized view. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm stumped with that. So I came up with my workaround, which essentially is just creating the tags using variables. Same thing, register and log in. However, once you're logged in, the idea is that it's supposed to show you. So once we get to an identity that's authenticated, we're going to have log out text and we're going to have log account manager URL. So we're going to basically toggle all this to a logout location, logout component, and a account component. And the text is just going to be the name of the person, or in this case, the email, which is the default until I actually pass the name back. As part of the register, I should have a name, but I haven't been pulling it. So there you go. That's it. You just got to check your tag. I have it toggling. I created a method within the on initialized async. We have the toggle nav menu. It's the same process to logging in. I mean, I have, in fact, if you go through the normal state of creating um, authentication, a custom authentication provider, which is what I got here, custom auth state provider. And then in here, you're going to have, notify authentication. You're going to have update authenticated state. And this is a special extra one, which just logs the authentication state. That's the thing you see down here that says user's authenticated. What type of token is it? What's the user's name according to that? And then what's the claim values? And that's what we got. That's what we're seeing in here. And that's only when the users or when the auth state comes back as authenticated. So this is all the kind of stuff you're doing when creating the normal authentication, the normal processes. Now I do have a JIT service here, which is my cookie handler. It's basically what it's going to do. So I create, when I do the login, we go send the information back to the auth API, and the auth API sends back a token. And here's that token. I pass it into set cookie. Cookie gets set. We store it into that cookie. And then we define the user, which is the identity. I mean, this is also where we can pull information for that user if we want to. And so it's going to go read that stuff off. We have the identity, and that's the user email and the admin getting set. And now we have a user that's got an identity. We're attaching that identity to the user object that we have already created. So now when we go and set the user on here, we go to this, it's going to take us back to the authentication state, and we say set user, and now we got authentication state changed. We've now set the user, and that's how it's reading it. We can now read that claims principal right off of the authentication state because it's been set. So, but this is all stuff that's supposed to be a little bit more intuitive, I guess, but I think it has to do possibly because I'm using a cookie, Druid bearer token, maybe the bearer token doesn't store right. Either way, once you set the auth state manually, and then you tell the system that, hey, I changed the authentication state using notify state change, it should work, but it's not. It's not updating it, not populating it. Something is stumbling in that knowledge of identification. So I don't know if it's something here going on, but there's been no solution I've been able to find in the world. So if there's an expert out there who knows how this is supposed to work, apparently doing things like updating the cascading authentication state or adding this didn't work. There just really isn't anything. I've tried it all. I've tried chat GPTs, the various the AIs. I've tried, Microsoft and other things. And you can see we are still stumbling. Now, I'm wondering if the authorized, unauthorized, see, all of these just say authorized view. Oh, there's authorized, not authorized. Yeah, that's the one that's not working. I was hoping there was something going on that maybe .NET 8 didn't have the authorized thing, but I'm using that and that's not working. You can also supply different content display. I tried that. Nothing will let this view under any circumstance. So if there's a solution there, I don't know what it is. I have authorized, I have not authorized, and yeah. So there you go. I have a workaround. All my code is fully functional now. I'm probably just going to take this stuff out because it doesn't work. I don't know how else to trigger it. If somebody else knows, by all means, let me know what I'm doing wrong. But I now have a functional app for my login, and I can move on. Um, I've been trying to see if there was a way to. I get caught up. I'm very I have a mindset of never admit defeat, so I keep trying new things. And I have to admit defeat or I'm never going to get forward on this. So I got to move on to the next thing. The fact is, it works, and I wish the content of authorized and unauthorized can include arbitrary items such as other interactive components. Authorized conditions such as roles or policies that control UI options or access covered in the authorization section. If authorization conditions aren't specified, uses a default policy authenticated. See, it should have worked. Simply authenticated should be enough. And like I said, I stepped through, showed it, it's authenticated, it still fails. So it's as though whatever these tags are reading, it isn't this. They're not reading the same item for whatever reason. And if there's another, I don't know, authentication state going on, that I've heard that you could actually have two, and that could break it. Yeah, see, there isn't another one. And in order to inject, I need this, so that's. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know. But there you go. There's a workaround. Till next time, take it easy.